There is something your baby is trying to tell you. Not with words, not with cries, not even with the small gestures you've learned to read, the ones that tell you when they're hungry or tired or simply want to be closer to your skin. This is deeper. This is happening beneath the surface, inside a part of their brain that will not form words for years. A part that is recording everything. Not memories, yet not the kind you'll hear about someday when they're old enough to say, remember, when, but something more fundamental than memory. Something like a blueprint. A blueprint for what it means to be safe, to be loved, to matter. And here is what most parents never realize. That blueprint is being drawn right now. Today. In the smallest moments you barely think about. The ones that feel too ordinary to matter. But science has discovered something that changes everything about how we understand those ordinary moments. And the truth is, both more beautiful and more urgent than you might expect. Your baby cannot explain what they feel, but their nervous system is responding to everything around them. Every sound, every pause, every time you turn toward them or away, every time your voice softens or sharpens, every time your presence feels settled or scattered. Your baby's body is reading all of it, not intellectually, not consciously in the way you read a sentence or recognize a face, but deeper than that, older than that. This is the part of the human brain that evolved long before language, long before thinking, long before knowing in the way we usually mean. It is the part that asks only one question, over and over, thousands of times a day. Am I safe? And the answer your baby receives does not come from logic or explanation. It comes from one place only. You. Let's slow down here for a moment, because this is where most parenting advice misses something essential. We talk so much about what babies need: sleep schedules, feeding routines, developmental milestones, the right toys, the right music, the right everything, and all of those things have their place. They do. But beneath all of them, underneath every checklist and every expert recommendation, there is something more primal. Your baby is not just growing a body. They are growing a nervous system. And a nervous system does not learn from lectures or schedules. It learns from experience. From what happens moment after moment after moment. From the rhythm of your breathing when you hold them. From the temperature of your voice when you speak. From the speed of your heartbeat when they press their cheek against your chest. This is not poetry. This is neuroscience. And it changes the way we need to think about every single day. Here is what researchers have discovered, and it is both terrifying and beautiful. The human brain develops more rapidly in the first 3 years of life than at any other time. Faster than adolescence, faster than childhood, faster than anything except the prenatal period. Neurons are forming connections at an astonishing rate, millions every second. And those connections are not random. They are shaped by experience. Specifically, they are shaped by relational experience. By what happens between your baby and you. By the look on your face when they wake up from a nap. By the sound of your footsteps approaching their crib. By whether the arms that pick them up feel tense or soft. By whether the voice that speaks to them feels rushed or present. Every single one of these moments, and there are thousands of them, every day is teaching your baby something about the world they have just entered. The question is, what are they learning? A baby arrives in this world completely dependent. They have no ability to regulate their own nervous system. No ability to calm themselves down when they feel afraid. No ability to reassure themselves that everything is okay. They cannot yet tell the difference between a minor discomfort and a mortal threat. To their undeveloped nervous system, hunger can feel like danger. A loud noise can feel like danger. Being alone for too long can feel like danger. Everything that feels bad feels like I might not survive this. That sounds dramatic, but from an evolutionary perspective, it makes perfect sense. For most of human history, a baby who was not attended to, who was left alone for too long, who was not held, who was not responded to truly, was in danger. The nervous system evolved to treat isolation as an emergency, because for our ancestors, Isolation often was. Your baby does not know that you are in the next room, that you will return in 5 minutes, that the world is safe and warm, and that nothing is hunting them. They only know what their body feels, and their body feels you. So here is the first thing your baby secretly needs from you every single day, and you are already doing it more than you realize. Your presence. Not your productivity, not your perfection, not your ability to create the perfect Montessori-inspired play environment, or read the right number of books, or introduce the right sensory experiences at precisely the optimal developmental window. Just your presence. The simple, ordinary, miraculous fact that you are there. When your baby cries and you come, not immediately, not perfectly, but eventually, something remarkable happens inside their body. Their heart rate begins to slow. Their stress hormones start to decrease. Their nervous system receives a message it cannot put into words, but will remember forever. When I am in distress, someone comes. I do not have to face this alone. I am safe enough to return to calm. This is the foundation of secure attachment. It is not built in grand gestures or perfect parenting. It is built in thousands of small moments of return. You leave. You come back. You miss a cue. You notice the next one. You are distracted. You reconnect. Not perfection. Presence. But here is where the science gets even more surprising, and where most parents miss something crucial. Your baby is not just responding to what you do. Your baby is responding to what you feel. This is called emotional contagion, and it is one of the most powerful forces in early human development. Your baby's nervous system is literally designed to sync with yours. When you are calm, your presence helps them become calm. When you are anxious, their body registers that anxiety even if your voice is soft and your hands are gentle. Because the nervous system does not primarily listen to words, it listens to rhythm, tone, micro movements, the tiny tensions in your jaw that you don't even notice, the slight shallowness of your breath when you are worried about something unrelated to the baby, the subtle way your body holds itself when you are exhausted but pretending not to be. Your baby feels all of it. And this is not something to feel guilty about. This is not another standard to fail. This is information. Because here is what the research also shows. You do not need to be calm all the time. You do not need to be a perfectly regulated nervous system. You need something much more achievable. You need to be real, and you need to repair. Here is the second thing your baby secretly needs. They need to see you return to calm. Not stay calm, not pretend to be calm when you are not, but return. Because here is the beautiful truth that developmental psychology has uncovered. Rupture is not the problem. Rupture is inevitable. You will be tired. You will be distracted. You will sometimes feel overwhelmed by the weight of keeping another human alive. You will sometimes put the baby down and walk away for a moment because you have to. You will sometimes not be your best self. That is not failure. That is being human. What matters, and the research on this is clear, as what happens next. Your baby needs to experience the arc of regulation, the moment of disconnection followed by the moment of reconnection, the stress of being alone followed by the relief of being found, the fear of not being seen followed by the safety of being noticed again. This is how a nervous system learns to trust, not because nothing ever goes wrong, but because when something goes wrong, love comes back. Most parents do not know that they are doing something extraordinary hundreds of times every day. Every time you pick up your crying baby, every time you offer your finger for them to hold, every time you make eye contact and smile, every time you speak in that soft, rhythmic voice that seems to come from somewhere ancient and instinctive, every time you simply sit with them while they fall asleep, your presence a quiet statement that the world is safe enough to let go. These moments are not small. They are the curriculum of human connection. And your baby needs 5 more things from you every single day, things that are probably already happening in your home, in your arms, in the sacred ordinary space between you. The third thing. Your baby needs your attention, not constant attention, not vigilant attention, not the kind that exhausts you, but shared attention. The kind where you notice what they notice, where you follow their gaze to the window, to the light, to the movement of your hand, where you see them seeing something new and you share that moment of discovery. Neuroscientists call this joint attention. Parents call it "look at that, sweetheart." And here is what makes it profound. When you share attention with your baby, their brain releases a cascade of neurochemicals associated with learning and safety. The moment becomes encoded differently, not just as an experience, but as a shared experience. And that distinction changes everything. Because human beings are not solitary learners. We are relational learners. We learn best not when we are taught, but when we are witnessed. When someone is there with us, seeing what we see, feeling what we feel. Your baby is learning about the world, but more importantly, they are learning that the world is something that can be shared. The fourth thing. Your baby needs to hear your voice, but not in the way most parents think. They do not need vocabulary drills. They do not need educational audio. They do not need you to narrate every moment of the day like a BBC documentary, though if you do that, they probably enjoy it simply because it is you. What your baby needs is the music of your voice. The rhythm, the pitch, the softness. The way your voice changes when you speak directly to them versus when you speak on the phone. The way your voice wraps around their name like a small embrace. Research on infant-directed speech, sometimes called parentese, has shown that babies actively prefer this way of speaking. Their brains respond more strongly to it. Their attention sharpens. Their nervous system settles. Not because of the words, because of the emotional information carried in the tone. Your voice is telling your baby, you are safe here, you are welcome here, you are worth speaking to in this special way, and they are listening, even when you think they are not. Especially then. The fifth thing. This one surprises most parents. Your baby needs to experience safe frustration, not distress, not abandonment, not the kind of overwhelm that floods their system with stress hormones, but the small, manageable moments of wanting something and not getting it immediately. The toy that is just out of reach, the bottle that is taking 2 more seconds than they would like, the moment of waiting. Here is why this matters. If every desire is instantly fulfilled, the nervous system never learns tolerance for frustration, never learns that discomfort can be temporary, never builds the capacity to self-regulate in the face of small delays. But if frustration is too intense, too frequent, or happens without emotional support, the nervous system learns something else, that the world is unreliable, that distress does not lead to comfort, that being alone with difficult feelings is the only option. What your baby needs is the middle path. The moment of frustration followed by your response, the wanting followed by the getting, the crying followed by the arms. This is how the brain builds what psychologists call distress tolerance. And it is one of the most important emotional skills your baby will ever develop. Not because you ignore them, because you let them feel small discomforts while staying close enough to help when the discomfort becomes too much. It is a delicate dance, and you are already doing it better than you think. The sixth thing. This is the deepest one. The one most parents never realize their baby is asking for. The one that changes everything when you finally understand it. Your baby needs you to take care of yourself, not as an afterthought, not as something you will get to someday when things are easier, but as a core part of meeting your baby's needs. Because your baby's nervous system is synced to yours, your baby's emotional world is shaped by yours. Your baby's capacity for calm depends, in part, on your own capacity to return to calm. This is not selfish. This is neuroscience. When you rest, you are giving your baby permission to rest. When you accept help, you are modeling that no one has to do this alone. When you speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism, you are building an internal atmosphere that your baby will absorb without knowing it. Your baby does not need you to be a martyr. Your baby needs you to be present, and you cannot be present if you are running on empty. So here's what your baby actually needs from you every single day. Not perfection, not a schedule you follow without deviation, not endless patience or boundless energy or the ability to be everything all the time. Your presence, your return, your shared attention, the music of your voice, the safe experience of small frustrations, and your own willingness to be cared for too. These 6 things are not a checklist. They are a different way of seeing. Because here is the truth that parenting books rarely say out loud. You already have what your baby needs. Not because you are the perfect parent, not because you never make mistakes, not because you have figured everything out, but because your baby does not need a perfect parent. Your baby needs their parent. The one who shows up, the one who tries, the one who sometimes gets it wrong and then tries again. The one who is exhausted and loving and overwhelmed and devoted all at the same time. The one who is you. Think about tonight. Maybe you will be tired. Maybe the baby will cry at a moment when you have nothing left to give. Maybe you will put them down a little too quickly, or speak a little too sharply, or feel a wave of resentment that makes you feel guilty for hours afterward. That is not failure. That is being human. And here's what your baby will remember, not with words, not with pictures, but with the deep embodied knowing that lives in the nervous system forever. Not that you were perfect, but that you came back. That when they cried, someone came. That when they reached, someone held. That when they were afraid, someone stayed close until the fear passed. That they did not have to face any of it alone. This is what secure attachment looks like. This is what a well-regulated nervous system learns. This is what love feels like before there are words for love. Your baby is watching you, learning you, building themselves around the feeling of being loved by you. Not loved perfectly. Not loved without exhaustion or frustration or moments of disconnection, but loved persistently, lovingly returned to, lovingly seen. And one day sooner than you can imagine, they will walk away from you into their own life. They will carry everything you gave them, not the toys or the schedules or the perfectly balanced meals. They will carry the feeling of being safe enough to become themselves, the feeling of being loved enough to love, the feeling of being held by someone who did their best, moment after ordinary moment, day after exhausting, beautiful day. And that feeling will be enough. Because you were enough. You already are, right now. In this moment, your baby knows it. And now, so do you.